Hello, Delmarva. I'm Mark Shawnee from State Farm here at WBOC's historic Studio D. Delmarva Live starts right now.
Good afternoon, Delmarva. It's Wednesday, January 18th. I'm Lisa Bryant.
I'm Jimmy Hoppa. Welcome to Delmarva Live from historic Studio D.
And we would love to welcome our studio audience today and give them a round of applause. Good job, Mark, on the intro.
You did do that great, didn't you?
He did do a good job.
Talk about wind today.
Oh, my goodness.
When's your garbage day?
Well, we take our garbage.
So you take yours. Okay,
Yeah.
so if it's garbage day for you, remember you're going to have to go downwind about a block to get your trash can back. I mean, there's stuff all over the place. The little tumbleweeds that blow around. There's limbs on the road. Got to watch out for that stuff.
And the wind is blowing in some change in the temperature. Already seeing a significant drop from what it was when we got up this morning.
Yeah,
So,
it was still in the 50s when I rolled in this morning.
Yeah,
So.
we're looking at the 30s.
And wind chill.
And wind chills. And then maybe by Friday we may see a little bit of snow.
White stuff.
Ooh, I'm afraid to say it.
Let's don't talk about that.
Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something more exciting and more positive for our hot topics.
Yes.
Gas prices.
I wanted to see where you were going with that one.
I really had no place there. I was a little bit of sarcasm there. Yeah, they're now reporting that we could see $5 a gallon by summertime.
By summer. This is the crazy. I think this is supposed to be the most expensive January gas prices we have ever seen. I think the national average is somewhere around $3.39 for the regular unleaded.
No smiles on their face as they fill the car. It's just amazing. Now, it seems like we've always been threatened with the $5 a gallon. You know,
yeah, it happened last year, didn't it?
Yeah, it happened last year, but things aren't going this year the way they usually do, normally do. The trends are different and everything. So we asked people on our Facebook page, how would a $5 per gallon gasoline cost change what you do every day? And we have a few comments here.
And taking a look at this one, who is that? Kevin?
Kevin.
Kevin wouldn't be able to afford to drive to work, wouldn't be able to pay the bills.
It's like a domino effect there.
Oof.
Richard Burkhardt says, I will move across the street from the church and walk to work. And pray for those prices to come
Wonder
down.
if that's Pastor Crystal says, buy a scooter.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I don't know. Time, we'll see.
I don't know if I want to ask this question or not.
Go.
So I will just make it a statement. I'm not going to ask you a question. The lowest price I remember for gasoline is 32 cents a gallon.
Wow.
And of course you don't. Yours was like $2, right? That's the lowest one you remember.
I will say this. I
you're only like
remember. I
19.
remember when they had to sell gas by the half gallon because it went above 2 digits.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Because the signs and the gas tanks weren't fitted
The gas pumps
for
couldn't handle it?
3 digits.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That
shows you how old I am a little
She's
bit.
actually 21, not 19 at all.
Hey, we've been talking a lot about little baby Ava. Ava Del Rico was the child that was critically injured in a car crash back in December. A horrific car crash. Has been spending a lot of time in the hospital, and of course parents by her side. And for the first time, they took a little break from the bedside of their baby to say something to all the people who have supported them. Let's take a listen.
Thank you for everyone that's reached out in prayer for our family. We appreciate your cares.
This is the first message
Concerns
from George and Anne Marie Del Rico. It's a sad story, but it's amazing how the community is coming together to help little Ava. Of course, we have the bands for Ava coming up on January 28th down in Ocean City. We have all that information on our website, delmarvalife.com. But just wanted to get their chance to tell everybody thank you.
And they did that just a few steps from her hospital bed.
Right. They're not leaving her side very long.
So.
But she is making progress. So
was great.
baby Ava, a little miracle.
Can I say something about this whole thing about Bennett Middle School in
Oh,
Salisbury?
yeah. Big.
Here's the deal. They wanted to make a new Bennett Middle School because this school is not air conditioned. These kids are suffering through the heat, you know, in the fall when they go and in the spring before they go. And apparently there was a little poll. Daily Times said that of 82% of those that responded to the poll at the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce said, let's do it.
Yeah.
But the city council, the county council, Wicomico County Council said they were not going to send a letter to the state to try to get the funding for the school.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, you have done reports from that school or any school. You may have kids going to school that's not air conditioned.
Yeah, yeah. This
is crazy. These kids are wiping the sweat out of their eyes, and they can't get there. There's no way in the world to focus in that kind of
Well,
heat.
I think there's no doubt in anybody's mind, on the council or anybody, that school needs to be replaced. I don't think that's the argument, and I'm glad my kids don't go to that school.
Yeah.
Have never had to sit in those classrooms when it gets 90 degrees.
It's like a boiler in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no doubt that school needs to be replaced. I think what the argument is that a lot of people are saying coming up with the money is where they're having a problem, and that some people wanted to take some leftover money from the Bennett High School project. I think it was something like $14 million, and put it toward the middle school. And for some reason, they can't do that. And the council members who voted against writing this letter to they say they want to go forward with this middle school construction are saying that it's not that they don't want the school, it's just that the money and the way to get the money and all of that is not right yet.
Okay, now the high school is done.
The high
right?
school is done. Beautiful, James and Bennett High School.
So they're looking at a $14 million extra that they had from that project?
Apparently so, yeah.
But
So-
I mean, I can understand. So in other words, they're not dumping the idea. They still want to redo the
Right.
school.
I think it was Councilman Joe Holloway said last night on WBOC, you know, we're not saying it's never going to happen.
Okay.
It's just not going to happen right now. So I'm
But
not
that kind of a
saying, and
process-
I'm not saying that I don't think that I want them to build that school.
Well, that kind of a process to go through the entire funding thing, that's what, like a 2-year process, I
Yeah,
think, by the time
yeah.
you...
It's
And there's
sad.
$14 million sitting right over there. Why can't we at least start?
Yeah, I don't know.
See,
I don't know.
Carol is a teacher. My wife is a teacher, so I hear all the time about, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold outside. They either turn on the air conditioners or don't based on the date.
Uh-huh. Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So if it stays hotter longer as you move into the spring, or gets hotter earlier, I guess I should say, if it gets hot early, then you're out of luck. You don't
Yeah.
get the air conditioning for another 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. But
So I
she's
don't-
not in Wicomico County.
No,
so-
she's not.
so
No, she's not.
up
She's in
the-
Sussex County. But
in
I
the-
don't know. I'm still thinking, you got $14 million, scoot it over, let's figure out the numbers later.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not-
don't know. I don't know what the procedure is, but that's
not a
from
red tape
what
guy.
I understand. But I really do hope they get to build that
Yes.
school real soon.
Those kids need it.
Here's a funny story. Well, maybe not so funny.
It's
but
funny if you're on the ground.
Yeah, this is a funny story if you're on the ground. Scare of a lifetime for some passengers aboard a British Airways flight flying over, I think, the
North Atlantic?
North
somewhere?
Atlantic or somewhere. Yeah. They were in a plane similar to this. An announcement came on over the speaker saying, "This is an emergency announcement. We may shortly need to make an emergency landing on water." Can you, okay.
How it,
You're flying over open sea and you hear that announcement on airplane.
this calm female voice saying, get ready, we're going to have to ditch.
Yeah.
I would be the first man crying. I just want to make this
you
perfectly
would-
clear.
you
I
would,
like
yeah.
to fly, but I'd be the first one.
Apparently you would be in good company because a lot of people on that flight were crying, but it was a mistake. The pilot hit the wrong button.
Oh,
He
my.
apparently hit the button that played that announcement by accident. Just kidding.
Just kidding. It was
We're
a
not going to
joke.
crash land. You're
Just
going to
checking
live
to
a
see if
little
you were ready.
longer. Oh my goodness.
Do you spend a lot of time online? Do you do a lot of online
Oh,
research
my
and things
goodness,
like that?
Everybody does.
Wikipedia is one of what I understand is like almost 6,000 websites that are participating now in this protest. In fact, if you go to Google, you'll see a big black, it looks like a censorship thing
Yeah.
across the logo. Wikipedia is shutting down for the day in protest of this legislation that they're wanting to push, that some are wanting to throw through about SOPA and PIPA. Now, let me see if I can get this correct. It has to do with piracy is what it has to do. The SOPA thing has to do with whether or not you can actually I'm going to take movies for an example. There are some illegal sites where you can buy a pirated movie. The intention of the legislation is to shut down those sites. A lot of them operate overseas. Now, the way it's worded right now is that ISPs, for instance, if, just as an example, if you have Comcast, Comcast would be required to block websites that could be linked to another, could be linked to another, could be linked to another that would be available for you to get this pirated stuff.
So in other words, it's censorship, in a sense.
It's a sense of censorship that they're putting the responsibility on the ISPs and the companies like that. It's trying to knock down, this is like a $7 trillion business. By the time people here in the States who work on these websites, they make an honest living, and it impacts their honest living. So they're trying to figure out exactly how to word it to stop the piracy. The intention is good. The wording is what may be an issue. Now, another one is PIPA. There's SOPA, S-O-P-A, and PIPA, P-I-P-A. And that one is the same kind of a thing, only it has to do with intellectual property.
Oh, boy.
To help you understand that, did you know that if you go to, we talked about this the other day, Martin Luther King Jr.'s website, to watch his I Have a Dream speech, you have to pay $10. It's not that the King family wants to make that money, it's because of the requirements of the PIPA. So, just to give you an idea, that's why you have a hard time getting onto Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's protest, but it's all going to come back after the 24 hours?
Yeah, it's just 24-hour protest. That's all it is.
All right. Well, Twitter is a Twitter today because of Lady Gaga. She has hit a milestone. 18 million followers.
Oh my goodness.
18 million people follow her tweets. So
that's almost as many as you.
Almost. And she sent out a tweet to all of her fans saying, "Can't believe I have 18 million Twitter monsters." Really rad.
18
really
million
rad.
Twitter monsters.
Hey, have you noticed we've got some American Idol popcorn up on the set here? We're celebrating tonight's the big night.
Big night tonight.
Tonight's the night that Idol returns for another season. The judges, Steven Tyler, Jennifer Lopez, and Randy Jackson are back for another season. And promises to be a good one. You can watch American Idol at 8 o'clock tonight on our sister station, Fox 21. It's actually a 2-night premiere.
Yes.
Same time tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on our sister station, Fox 21. And then Sunday night after the NFC Championship game on Fox 21. So Idol is back, and look what we have in the studio. We have popcorn. We have the American Idol popcorn machine.
We're not saying the popcorn is very good, but
I think it's delicious.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep working on it just to make sure a quality check here.
Oh my goodness.
How have you done in the past with picking the winner? That turned out to be the winner?
No, not very well. I usually wait until the last couple contestants.
I usually just focus on the popcorn.
All right. Well, still ahead on Delmarva Life, January is National Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, and PRMC is in the house to talk prevention.
Plus, baby, it's finally cold outside. We're going to talk winter weather worries with State Farm Insurance. This is really good.
Delmarva Life is brought to you by Sussex County Federal Credit Union, guiding you to your financial future, and Peninsula Regional Medical Center, honored to serve the entire Delmarva Peninsula since 1897.